Hello, and welcome to the Legal Growth Podcast, where we dive into the strategies, challenges, and success stories shaping the future of law firms. I'm your host, Erin Folk, and together with Legal Growth Partners, we'll bring you in-depth conversations with top legal professionals, industry innovators, and firm leaders. Our goal is simple: share practical insights, innovative strategies, and real-world advice to help your law firm scale, adapt, and thrive. Whether you're navigating growth challenges or looking to boost your business development, you are in the right place. So let's dive in. This week, our guest is Stephen, and I'm going to let you say your last name.
Keslowitz, Stephen Keslowitz.
Exactly how it spells, but it's spelled exactly like it sounds. But I still sometimes mess it up. So, Stephen, I'm so excited. You have such a cool backstory. So let's just jump right in. Give us a quick overview of how you chose law and the type of law that you practice, and just a little bit of your past history.
Probably started thinking about becoming a lawyer during college through my writing. So I published a book when I was 19 about the Simpsons TV show. It's called The World According to the Simpsons. And for fans of the Simpsons, for everybody's seen it, they'll analyze issues and go through both sides of an issue. And a lot of that is very much like what we do as lawyers. And the other part of sort of writing the book and promoting it and talking about pictures and fair use and all of that stuff got me interested in learning about copyright law. So published the book, and the publisher, before actually printing it, had sent it to a lawyer, and I didn't know anything about fair use or copyright or anything like that. So I got interested in, learned about it from there, and became an intellectual property lawyer. So both analyzing issues, looking at things from different angles, obviously important for being a lawyer, and also just specifically the copyright and fair use issues. So both of those kind of led me here.
Intellectual property has become one of those really interesting spaces too, right? Because so many more things qualify now than even maybe 20 years ago.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's also the nexus with artificial intelligence. So there's obviously IP rights with AI law, and I work on a lot of that. But even aside from that nexus, I work in-house now, but typically it's like the IP and privacy people who get involved with that new emerging field also. So it's expanded in a sense, even if it's not strictly IP. People who do IP, a lot of there's crossover with AI work.
I think for a lot of us non-attorneys, one of the biggest things we think about when you think about IP, or one of the first things we really saw it play out in, was Facebook, and how they focused so much on the idea of it versus in the movie that they put out. I remember it was a big deal. That was a big time that, when did you really start to see that IP became more of a household word or an everybody knows word versus just an attorney word?
Yeah, I think Facebook is sort of a good example. It's a moment in time where, on the one hand, you can kind of say that, as you said, it became a household name. On the other hand, Facebook basically consists of just everybody infringing copyrights, right? That's basically all it is. There's sort of a disconnect. Like, people will send me, clients at my company will send me questions about, hey, can we use, this, photo from a movie in this presentation that we're providing? And the answer is probably not. You go through, it's an infringement, and then is there a fair use analysis? And clients are a lot of times well attuned and they have knowledge about all of that. And then the other answer is, well, you probably shouldn't do this, but then again, everybody's doing this on Facebook, right? So because it's become such a mainstream topic and people see, infringement every day, people may be less on guard and less careful about actually how they're operating. And when you're at a company, there is some liability risk that comes with that.
It's so interesting to watch it. All right. So every attorney seems to have that memorable first case. Can you share your funniest or most surprising story from early in your career?
Funny story? Well, so I've always been corporate transactional. There's a funny story.
What is memorable?
I do have a very good, I haven't traveled a lot for business, and the only real business trip I ever took happened to be to the Bahamas, which was excellent. And the reason we went to the Bahamas is because their trademark office, at least at the time, not sure about this now, it was back in, I think it was around 2010, 11, was not online. And the only way to access it, because what we were doing was sort of a very simple chain of title, trademark search, something that would take you, 30 minutes online, we need somebody to physically go down to the Bahamas and to search the records. And the records office is like a very small, size of like a partner's corner office at a law firm, and very laid back atmosphere. It wasn't sort of the New York law firm atmosphere. So what would happen is, I remember this very well, I need about 40 trademark records, which again should be retrieved quickly, should be reviewed quickly. The whole thing should take not more than an hour or two. Meanwhile, I was there for 4 nights because the trademark office told me, listen, we're understaffed, we close at 5 p.m., unheard of, law firms here, and we'll get 10 records per day, right? So I was there for 4 nights, spending 15 minutes a day working and waiting for the next day. So that was a good experience. The firm obviously paying for the client paying for the trip, and something I always remember.
You're like, how do I get that job again?
Yeah, no, that was yes. That was a good part of Big Law. Yeah.
What do you feel like has been your biggest growth success so far?
Where I'm at now, I'm at Equitable Financial, and I think the biggest memory I have, sort of a pivotal point in my career, was when I was at Debevoise and Plimpton, and the first deal that I led, I was the lead IP person on, as opposed to being the junior or mid-level person. The first one that I was the lead on was actually representing Equitable, and got to know the client really well. Kind of a unique situation. They kind of camped out in our offices for a while, and we at the time were owned, or Equitable was owned by a French company, AXA. So we had like people from France coming in and clients from the US. And I was leading this deal, in I was in the big conference room, 30 something people. It was the partner on the other side, and I was at that time a mid-level associate, and we were just negotiating back and forth. Pivotal moment of the career, just going through that deal, leading it, and then coming to work at Equitable a couple of years later. So if I think back, that was, just very fundamental to my growth and my experience.
This is a side note. I just got back from Paris, and it caught me so off guard how chill everybody was. So when you say they're in the room negotiating out of Paris, were the attorneys actually from Paris, or were they here representing a Paris company?
No. So our side was Paris, but that was
Okay.
really our clients. Yeah, the other side was just another big law firm. So.
Okay. I was like, they were just so chill when I was there. Like, even going out to eat, I was like, okay, we got to go. And we had nothing to do. It's just, that's my mindset here.
I know that they're especially very chill in the summer. I know because, again, we used to be owned by AXA, and before they sold us, we used to have like calls with them, and they would just take off 2-3 months. There'd be nobody to talk to in the summer. They would just be gone. So yeah.
I was like, we would eat a whole meal and people would just have not even ordered yet. I was like,
yeah,
what are you guys doing? It's a whole different culture. So what is your best or favorite non-legal skill that has really helped out in your career?
I have to say writing. So now I've published 7 books analyzing pop culture. So again, I mentioned before, I started with The Simpsons. Just came out with a book about analyzing the political and social issues in The Wizard of Oz and Wicked, called Traveling the Yellow Brick Road. And, analyzing shows from like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, The Twilight Zone. A lot of it is, whether it's legal issues in Better Call Saul, giving presentations at bar associations, law firms, and colleges on that stuff. So public speaking, all of that has sort of contributed to law, and just also fun and enjoyment on the side. Meeting people, celebrities, becoming friends with the creators of these shows, been fascinating.
It's amazing. While we're on the subject, where would people find your book? Where's the best place to find your book?
All on Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, stores also, but Amazon's probably the easiest. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so looking ahead, what trends or changes do you see shaping future of firms, and how are you positioning? I know you're in-house, but how are you positioning like to stay on top of all of these changes, especially in IP?
Yeah. Probably the biggest thing is AI right now. So I'm on a lot of our AI committees, and you see a lot of shifts and challenges, companies trying to create guardrails, looking for guidance from firms, and trying to find out where there is this kind of expertise. And the analogy really is people are trying to build the plane, fly the plane as you're building it, right? Because things are changing so quickly. How do you create processes for something that may be different tomorrow, right? Different directions and all of that. So, not necessarily growing a practice, but thinking about how to deal with those types of challenges and changes. That's definitely one of the things that are challenges facing in-house counsel, and where do you go for guidance, and how do you tell clients who want to move very quickly that, okay, here are the sort of things that you need to look out for. Also, who owns all of that, right? The other challenge is, some companies have a head AI officer. We actually don't have that title, but you have a different committee of stakeholders, and does legal own that decision, or is it someone in IT? Is it business? Is it privacy? And there's probably not a great answer to all of that, and which is different than other areas of law where it's like, okay, here are the legal risks, you talk it over with your client, and that's how the decision is made. Here it's more collaborative, I would think, in most places, certainly at my company, and it kind of has to be that way. And you decide by committee, which I think is a very unique type of thing for lawyers. Like, we'll have our committees, and I describe it as, people show us use cases, and it's kind of like a Shark Tank thing where we'll, shout out questions and, go through an approval process in that way. And you try to come to something that's a structured process. But again, as the landscape changes, you also have to be adaptable to the way to address these questions as they come up.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like how you say it's like flying the plane while you're building it, because it is changing every single day. And I can't even imagine when you're dealing with like the company side and what all can happen and what can't. Right before we got on this, I got an email from Google saying they're launching some avatar thing, and it's going to launch with all of your employees having access to it, and you have to physically go in and take their access away. And I was like, I could have missed that email in 2 seconds.
Sure.
And then who knows? So that's such an interesting take. Okay, Amazon is the best place to get your books.
Absolutely, yeah.
Amazing. And where's a great place for people to follow you? LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn is great. Facebook, I have an author page on Facebook, but LinkedIn is great. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, we'll make sure we tag it. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Legal Growth Podcast, presented by Legal Growth Partners. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, drop us a review, share it with your colleagues, because great insights are even better when shared. For more tips and tools to help grow your practice, visit legalgrowthpartners.com. Until next time, keep innovating, keep growing, and keep smiling. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Thank you. Appreciate it.